Good morning on this Wednesday morning. I am going to address the elephant in the room. They are fixing the toilets near where I'm filming this video. And so if you hear some noise, that's because there is some maintenance going on. But we're going to bring you this video today, Wednesday, for Mountaintop Online. Hopefully you're with us on Sunday. If you weren't, hopefully you're able to go watch the video from Sunday school. But we are in 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 13. Question number 1. What is one thing that stood out to you from this week's message? Something that in our small group that the guys talked about, something that stood out to us is the fact that that David, through this process, probably didn't know what was really going on, really didn't know what was happening. And it's one of those things where 1 minute you're in the field and you're watching the sheep, and the next minute some guy's pouring oil on your head. And it's one of those things that we talked about. It's one thing that stood out to us, and something that stood out to me is you never know when the Lord's going to use you. You never know how the Lord's going to use you. You just have to be faithful and willing to let him guide you and lead you. Question number 2, how is this story from David's life similar to Jesus' life? I think one thing that we see that's similar is that Jesus wasn't really like when he was born and when he was a kid and through his life, there's not a lot, like people weren't talking about him. So when he went into his town, they're like, isn't this the carpenter's son? And so the same thing with David. When he rolls up on the scene, people are like, wait, isn't this just a shepherd in Jesse's field? And so both of them start from these humble origins, and we see David become king, but we see Jesus, who is the Son of God, save all of mankind through his death, burial, and resurrection. And so question number 3, why was David the least likely candidate to be chosen as the next king? Because he was small, he was cute looking with what we talked about. He wasn't huge or tall, and he didn't look like a big manly man. But that wasn't the thing, is that might not have been the world standard for a king, but God's standard is always going to be different than ours. Because question number 4, what does God's choice of David show us about God's grace? I think what it shows us is there's nothing we can do to be good enough for God. We can't. Like, the reason I'm a Christian has nothing to do with anything that I've done or anything that I will do. The reason I'm a Christian is because of the grace of God and the love of God. God the Father sent his Son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for me. Nothing I did earn that. Nothing I did deserve that. And it was almost in spite of that, he still sent his Son to die on the cross for me. Jesus still died for me, even though I was a sinner. Because question number 5, how has God's grace been evident in your life? God's grace has been evident in my life, because of my relationship with him. Because I don't deserve a relationship with him because I'm a sinful, terrible person. But God has given me the ability to have salvation for my sin and be free from my sin and start that relationship with him and be able to be just wrapped up by his mercies and his love. But I mean, I see the grace all over in just in jobs, and I see in just sometimes in mine and Sarah's relationships as we've just prayed through things, and just God has shown us so much grace and so much mercy. But I think the biggest way God's grace has been evident in my life is just my personal relationship with him and the fact that I get to have a personal relationship with him. Because that leads us to our last question, that number 6, which is the same every week, but I think it's important because it talks about the fact that we can take our requests and make our requests be known to God. But question number 6 is, how can I pray for you? Reach out to me, send me a text, send me a message, send me something that shows how I can pray for you so I can continue to lift you up and continue to share the burdens that are going through in your life. We talked about 1 Samuel 16 this week, and next week we're talking about 1 Samuel 16 and 1 Samuel 17. I hope you'll be able to join us on Sunday morning at 9:30 in the youth building. If not, it will be online, probably on Monday for the Sunday school online. But I really hope you're able to join us on Thursday. Tomorrow we'll have our parking lot party at 7 o'clock in the back parking lot. Hopefully you'll be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But as we go through this, hopefully you're able to watch through this and continue to read through 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 13 this week. That's my challenge to you, is that before I see you next, at least read through this passage one more time. So I hope you have a great day. I will see you later.